Strallen, and I played young Phyllis.
Hi, I'm Bill, and I choreographed the show.
I'm Fred Haig, and I play the young buddy.
I'm Adam Rhys-Charles, and I play young Ben.
We only have 2 microphones. The budget wasn't that. We spent it all on the lovely screen. What's it like being in that then? That was. I mean, it must be a dream show, isn't it? I mean, dream location, dream material, dream budget. You know. But can you just give us each your thoughts on what it was like to be in Follies at the National?
Yes. It was very, very nice to be at the National Theatre. I'd always wanted to work there. I actually went to university at King's College, just across the river, and me and my best friend were very, very camp, and we used to climb out of our rehearsal rooms. We used to do musical theatre society stuff. Climb out the rehearsal room, there's a little balcony on the top of the building. We used to have a cigarette out there and look over at the National Theatre balcony and be like, one day! And in a remnant of campery, so not that camp, we sort of pledged to each other that on the first day that we opened a show there, we'd have a cigarette on the National, not that we smoke, on the National Theatre balcony, looking back and going, well done. So I did that, and that felt very nice. And the show, I love Sondheim, as you know, and it was lovely to be in that, in a part that I never really thought I'd play, which was also very interesting. But mainly just working with an amazing creative team, Bill Deamer, Dominic Cook, Skillbeck, and Vicky Mortimer, the designer, and Paulie Constable, the lighting designer, everyone always wanted to be lit by. She's amazing. And all those incredible women. So it was a big, big learning curve, but very lovely. Here you go. We go down there.
Ooh, me? All of the above, really. It was the people. I know us four in particular, we got on so well. I'm not just saying that, we actually really did. And we're just excited today to see each other again, being together. When I graduated, I said that I'd love to work in the National Theatre and I'd love to be in a Sondheim musical. And I did both of this one thing, and it was everything I thought it might be and more. It was spectacular. Brilliant.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It was just a coming together of so many amazingly cool things, like amazing creative team. Bill, obviously, Dominic, and also doing it at a venue like the National is amazing. It's also an amazing piece, Follies, and so rarely done in its full splendour. So that was so cool. I pretty much just spent 6 months of my life thinking someone was going to tap me on the shoulder and say, "You've been found out," and that's it, you're out. But no, it was just amazing, and completely reiterate what Adam says, the whole team, the cast and crew, it was just an amazing thing to be a part of.
Yeah, I don't think any of us will ever forget the first day of rehearsals, will we? Like sitting in that giant circle with all of these, actors that we had, looked up to and idolised, and just listening to them read through the script for the first time. And some parts of it were hilarious because we actually had to say all the songs without any melody. So some of them, like the rat-a-tat-tang or the rain tomorrow. Me and Adam looking across the circle. Comedy at times, and then just some really heartbreaking time. Jamie D speaking "Could I Leave You," and Imelda speaking "In Buddy's Eyes," and things. It was just incredible, and we had this amazing speech from Dominic about how he loves musical theatre as much as he does straight theatre, and that was so inspiring. He always gave very inspiring speeches. The people that we learnt from and were highly intimidated by on the first few rehearsals, and still are, but they were all so lovely to us, and we learnt so much.
Well, where do we start? I sort of died and went to heaven on this show. It was from day one of meeting Dominic. Well, I first met him, I was actually in Copenhagen doing a production of Anything Goes, and my agent just reminded me, we had a Skype call, which went on for an hour and a half. And I flew back the following week to meet him, and I have to say, the cast were truly, truly brilliant, exceptional performers and wonderful people, as were the creative team, but it has to be led by someone, and it was led by the most genius director I've ever worked with. He is inspiring, he allows you to breathe and do what you do in a rehearsal room. For a choreographer especially, that's very important. And I used to get there every morning at 8:30 in the morning to have an hour with Dom talking about the show before we even started rehearsals. I felt like a kid at drama school again. So it was a very, very, very special experience for all of us, but it was led by Dom.
And was it Dominic's first musical?
Yes, it was.
And
Yeah.
did that
His
have an
first
impact?
line to me was, before that day when we all met, we were having a coffee, and he said, before I forget, if I do anything that messes you up, just come straight out and say it. And I've never forgotten that line. And that gave me a freedom, because we had to work very closely together for all of the staging.
So when did you start on it then? Before it was fully cast? And...
Oh, a year before. Once I knew I was doing the job and we were going to create it, I said to Dom, as a choreographer, the one thing the show has to have for me, you have to believe that these ladies danced and were in the Follies. And it's something that's often forgotten because the songs are so clever and they're so wonderful that it just becomes a series of talk songs, which it's not. They are brilliant songs in their own right, as we know, but they have to live and they have to breathe within the piece. And that's where Dom and I came together. Dom had a concept from the word go, and he worked with Vicky Mortimer, the designer, and then I came in, and we had about 12 full meetings with the set, and the mock-up of the set, and walking through the show and costumes and what have you, before we even started with this lot, you know, and casting, you know, the care that's taken to get it right, and we did get it right. You know.
Very much.
How we follow that, I don't know, but that's, you know.
Did you have a say in the casting as well?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And all these, the
Absolutely.
He was there, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone in, sing, dance, read, and read again, and then read again. Absolutely.
And how do you choreograph when, because a lot of the, from what, I'm not a choreographer or a dancer, you can probably tell, but a lot of it seemed to really match with the orchestration as opposed to just the music.
That's my job.
But the orchestration more than just the music.
Yeah, that's the way I work though, so that's fine.
But you had an orchestra there. I mean, I know it's the National and it's endless.
Well, you've got Nick Skilbeck and you've got Nigel Lilly who are saying, no, you've got that there and you've got that there in the score, and I read music, you know, and things like Lucy and Jessie. When Stephen Sondheim first saw it, because we took a chance, because it had never been done that way, but of course, working with Zizi, who I've worked with a couple of times, and her dance skills, and knowing Janie, what people don't know, and I can tell you, because is that Janie D was my dance partner for 5 years, years back, so I know exactly how she dances, and I know exactly how Zizi does, and that's how I created that number. And Sondheim loved it, Stephen Sondheim loved it, and I'm just grateful to you and the team for that.
Yeah, I think because with Lucy and Jessie, I had just heard before that people would often think that when she said Lucy and Jessie, they would think she was talking about Phyllis and Sally.
Absolutely,
and
it's
actually
not
she
that.
was talking about Phyllis and younger Phyllis.
That's right.
So it kind of made it a bit clearer.
Yeah.
I think there's lots of things in this show where it's worked, probably for the first time ever, I think, and that's one of them, I think.
But that was, again, the director saying, right, let's try it down that road. You know.
And Steve was there?
Yes, he was.
The first...
First two.
No pressure, guys.
How was that then? We were there, of course, yes.
Wow. It was amazing. And he stuck around for a drink afterwards, and you know, he really was. Yeah, I mean, that's what happened. He stuck around for a drink afterwards. He was very good-humoured about it all. We gave lovely feedback about the show. Actually, kept telegramming us notes throughout the run, which is like, it was crazy to think. But yeah, and he was just, you know, considering his advanced years, he was just amazing. Yeah,
And really relaxed.
Very relaxed. Yeah, didn't get too stressed, which it could have been very easy, I'm sure, for it.
But you were really good because I was too scared. So we were like, Alex, come on, let's go and say hello.
Shameless, not good.
No, he just went, hello, I'm Fred, I play drum body. would you like to play during He was like, oh, alright. And didn't you buy him a glass of wine?
I think I tried to. I kind of did the same thing.
No.
No. I tried to, and I went, what happened? Because I'd seen you'd been up to him, and I'm like a die-hard fan as well, so I couldn't quite believe it. I still don't believe that it happened. So I kind of saw that happen, and I was like, oh. So I went up to the bar and I kind of did the handshake thing, and he was like, oh yeah, that's great, I just want a glass of wine. And then someone came over that was like looking after him within the NT. So I did shake his hand, but I don't think he knew who I was.
And how did you get the jobs then? What was the process of, do you have to audition? Was it arduous? Or
I danced first. I was in a tap call with the lovely Bill Deamer. And I think a mixture of, I don't know, but from what I gather, Wendy and Jacob in casting and along with you must have thought, well, obviously our casting in the show is very driven by aesthetic and like matching with the older actors to make it clearer for the audience. And I think, yeah, and then so after I danced, I was then given the young men material because they thought, because I think Phil was involved by that point. So yeah, I feel extremely lucky. And then I read and sang and met Nick and then Dominic. I was very nervous. But yeah, and then got the most amazing call of my life. It was great.
Oh. And then you called me.
And then I called you.
Yeah, because I've known you for a while and I've known you auditioning. Adam and I have been friends for years. We lived together now as lovers. No, not sometimes. Sorry. And then you called me. No, yeah, you left me a voicemail going, so how do you feel about this snob on the Olivia Stone? I was like, didn't you know that? I was like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. I was so happy. So we did Anything Goes together for Dan Evans at Crucible, and and I was freaking thrilled because I know for, like, it felt like years. I was cast, I think I was really early on. I had like a 10-minute audition with Dom, and then a couple of weeks later I got a call saying that and then I was asked how tall I was in my stocking feet. I said, honestly, how tall are you? As a 5'2". So they knew I was a bit too tall, but anyway. And then I got the job, but I then spent a year going, nah, they've got that very wrong. They've got that very wrong, there's no way. And then you were completely different again.
Yeah, I was working with you when you got the job.
Oh yeah, I was playing Bert, so Zizi and I were on the Mary Poppins tour together, and that week we were in Bradford, and I was, yeah, 2-show day that day, and I found out in the morning.
So we had a celebratory Mary and Bert show, and it's not funny. And then I didn't get the job till much later. I just sent a tape from Dubai, where I was doing Mary Poppins, with a bit of Follies material and Gonna Love Tomorrow, and obviously Bill knew that Bill knew that I could dance, so yeah, and then I just got a call. Stephen has approved you as young Phyllis. Oh, thank you, Stephen.
That really scared me when they said, oh, they've got the offer, but we just need to okay you with Stephen.
Yeah, you had to approve everyone, didn't he?
Yeah, approved everything first.
I didn't know anyone before this. It's pretty sad.
Well, we sent you a message the night before we started
That was really sweet.
Adam and I were in the pub.
That was really sweet. You sent me a direct message on Twitter saying, hey, we're looking forward to meeting you tomorrow. And
on your crutches.
Yeah, and I was on crutches at the time. I actually had broken my foot on a job before. So it was a real. It's at the time I did, I think, 3 auditions. We sort of built up to it. So I did singing and acting and dancing. And they were terrifying, as they are. And I've heard in a Starbucks in Covent Garden, such is the glamour of this job, that I got it, and I have no one to tell. So there was an actor also in Starbucks, because to be honest, you throw a stick, you'll probably hit one in Covent Garden. And they said, sorry, I'm an actor, and you're sort of squirming in a way that would suggest you got a job. And I said, I did get a job, but that was quite nice. Yeah, didn't buy me a coffee, but Yeah, so then and then that's how I got it. And that must have been January or February before we started rehearsal. So about 5 months of sort of thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to do this. And then I went and did a job and broke my foot. But you know, so it was sort of ups and downs. But no, it was an amazing feeling, the best feeling. Yeah, it's great.
And Bill, what was your Sondheim experience before this?
Before? Well, I did quite a few concerts, Sondheim concerts, and I actually did Follies in concert at the Palladium, the London Palladium, which we did the concert version with Philip Paston, Maria Friedman, and Liliane Montevecchi, and in fact Imelda did Broadway Baby. So I knew basically what the show was about, but I didn't know what Dominic was going to do with it and where he brought it all from. I'm sorry I keep going back to it, but he's been such a big influence on the way I work now, and that's what really changed the show for me. And casting these wonderful people, you know, I knew Adam from my show Top Hat, so I knew what he was about. Zizi did Cats, the tap number in Cats, Cats. I knew of your work, and then when you broke your foot, it gave me a heart attack. Well, can you do it, Bill? I mean, is he going to make it? Is he going to get there? You know, it'll be fine. We got there.
We got there.
You know?
It's all right.
And I knew that you'd been cast, and you came in and did some movement, didn't you?
Oh, I did, because I'd got the job, and then, well, as far as I knew I'd got the job, and then they were like, can you come in and dance with Bill? I was like, yeah, I've still got the job. I'm like, yeah. Definitely, they're just casting young bands, they want to sort of match you up, and I've definitely got the job. Yeah, definitely got the job. And even before I went in, I went into the casting office.
Yes,
I've definitely got the job. Yes, you definitely got the job. Don't worry, but we would like to meet you to make sure you can actually when done.
That was the premise. I knew I'd seen you work before, but it was the fact that I'd never really met you.
No.
And that first day of rehearsal, everyone comes in. And
I was very glad we had that. I was glad to be in this. As long as I was sure.
These four have a tall order in the show, because You're Gonna Love Tomorrow and all of that. It looks so a pastiche of the time, and what sometimes written is so clever, but it is so damn difficult to sing and do those period moves at the same time, you know. I was so proud of you watching that, because, you know, and I said to them, I'm not easily pleased, and I was really pleased with the way that was filmed. I think it was excellent work. And I know, again, it goes back to Dominic, and we spent a lot of time doing notes with the director, but it's a really good record of the show. But seeing what you did, my God, that's difficult. You know, all of that cocktail stuff and meeting, we call it the barbecue, and all those, they're all on various counts. They're not just ad-libbing, and it does look so real as they're doing it. And I remember in rehearsal, I can't do it there, I'm on the wrong note, hold on. So that was all really pleasing to watch.
And was it a challenge choreographing the older ladies?
Well, bless their hearts, you would think a cast of that size with ladies, you know, with such characters, shall we say. But no, that was all fine. We did a tap boot camp the week before we started rehearsal, where they all went 5 shades of grey. But they got there.
They all really wanted to.
They wanted to be, absolutely, yeah. Because in rehearsals, you know, apart from these, I never sat down. We never sat down because the revolve never stopped turning. So we were choreographing through previews, weren't we? And said, no, you can try it up there. And you've seen it, from wherever you look in that auditorium, it's a different show. You know, Beautiful Girls, when Roscoe's singing it, there's a whole dance routine going on behind those flats. And it never stops. All the underscoring is choreographed. They never stop, and it went on and on and on and on, you know, and the results are there to see those, worth it. And everyone wanted to be there. So it didn't, you know, there was no, let's go, oh, now the flat's around, we can hide behind there now, there's a cigarette break. No, there's no, you know, you did the whole time. It was, let's get out there and create something.
And does it evolve, a show this scale? I mean, we did see different things partly because where you sat, but also just little tweaks, and I think it got better and richer as the
Oh, sure, yeah.
And
absolutely.
then the views went on.
It changed quite a lot.
I had a very strong coffee. Do you remember we had to change it all, the opening part?
Oh,
That
yeah.
changed quite a lot.
And all the canes coming forward, that was all done off the top of my head with a very strong coffee and on acid.
and we lost it. Bolero Deamer was in for the
well, the Bolero. Yeah, I mean that was fine. There was the problem. There were two problems. One, that the show didn't have an interval, so it couldn't get longer and longer and longer. And in rehearsals, Don said, "Let's try a version of the Bolero," and it was a really short version. It didn't say much, you know, but it didn't tie in. There were no older dancers to mirror that, which everyone else is mirrored in the show. And although they danced it beautifully, and we did it didn't work. It stood out like a sore thumb to me, and it was Dom's decision. And he said it just doesn't work. It's fine, so we left it there. And it wasn't even half of the original arrangement. So it was sort of like an offering, really.
Was it just the first preview?
Yeah.
That's right.
It wasn't in the programme, it was just when we got.
We only did the signs for the first preview as well.
Oh, that's right.
We did
that, but it took a long time.
Those wonderful signs, yeah.
But a big change were the two girls
Yeah,
changing from the two boys.
That was halfway down, it was halfway through the run.
through, yeah.
Why did that happen?
Stephen changed his mind.
Don told us at one of the days that we had that it was changed for the filming.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Because originally it had been two boys in Boston tryouts.
That's right. Originally, absolutely. Yeah.
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 Stuck to his guns, Stephen. He sort of tried it out in the original production, as you say, and tried it out in this one, and changed it both times. Yeah.
And that was a baptism of fire for the two girls as well, because and it had to be choreographed because they were doing drag choreography, and that would not work. So it wasn't just a case of just changing the steps. They really had to work hard.
I remember saying to Alex, seeing Alex after the show, I said, "Oh, you've got two girls in there. When did that happen?" And she said, "Oh, last night."
Literally.
Yeah.
They're brilliant, those guys. Or the ensemble work.
Oh.
How is it being choreographed by him?
Oh, well, I mean,
Two to go.
I'm a terrified dancer at the best of times. And normally when I've done, and I do, despite not really feeling like a dancer, I do end up dancing in shows, but often playing a character, you know, like a fun character, or definitely not having to be part of a lineup. And so, like, having to be part of a lineup was a terrifying thing for me, especially when they were like Zizi Strallen. But it was probably the biggest challenge of the show was to do that number. I bloody loved it. Like,
What number's
it was,
that?
absolutely terrifying. But I mean, his choreography is so amazing.
So proud of her, because it's not easy. It's fast.
It's not easy. It's really hard. But it's a bit. And actually, on the NT Live night, I was so scared of that number. So there's a bit where I had to do a turn, like a pirouette thing. And I had no balance anyway. And it's as the revolve is moving, and you're turning like on the same way as a revolve. It's easier on a revolve to be turning the other way, because sort of by the time a revolve catches up with you, you kind of feel like. Anyway, it was terrifying, and I was so scared of going to fall over. And I spent the whole time leading up to the NT Live being worried about that split second. In fact, the acting, I was like, I don't care, I'm terrified of this moment. And I didn't fall over, it was good, but more than that, when that revolve started moving, I don't know if you heard it, but the audience started applauding, you know, that final chorus, and I was like, this is amazing! And I don't even think I remember doing the turn, it was so extraordinary.
Yeah, we kind of said before the filming started, didn't we? Said, once we don't fall over, we're fine. Because we had some comedy falls down.
I remember that, 2 days before NT Live, I went flat on my face down the rubble. First entrance.
And I caught up the corner of my eye, and I could just see Alex hanging from the rubble.
I was actually like this, so I was like upside down. And I came off and I was a little bit shocked, and Melda said, when she found out what happened, she was like, what I'll do is when I come down the stairs and read for girls, I'll fall over too. Sally just falls over.
It was such a good fall.
At least you didn't fall off the stage this time.
No. We had some hairy moments. Like there was after Mirror Mirror, there's two arguments. It's quite a quiet moment, like for us, we'd sit outside, and these two would leave, and then we were left on stage, and the revolve was moving, and I had to step onto the moving revolve in my tap shoes, and that was the scariest bit of the show for me, because in the quiet, because they were, I'm not here.
And the ghosts can't fall over, ghosts don't trip.
Oh, that
It's like the Forbidden Broadway thing, you're trying to just wait
Yeah.
for the moment.
Especially because it was really dark as well, like the lighting was all quite like dark and moody backstage. You'd be like trying to walk on and going, where is it? There it is!
Very quiet.
I'm conscious of your time, but do you have any questions you're dying to ask? John, go on.
It's nice to see Bill. The last time I tried, he broke his leg and was just the voice at the end of the phone. So I hope your leg is better.
Yeah, the leg wasn't broken. I had to have a procedure on my knee, which had been playing up for about a year, and well, I'm pleased to tell you it's all an absolute success, and I'm so glad I had it done.
You had that in rehearsal?
Yeah, it's all done now.
Oh,
And did you break your foot on the town?
Yes, I did. It was on the third preview.
The show on the town.
It was about 20 minutes into the show. I was doing a song where I had to jump out of a taxi, and I went over on my left foot and broke my metatarsal. Didn't know that at the time, so I did the rest of the show, which was quite a fairly dancey show. But I mean, it was it was ill-fated. But
Can I ask Bill, you said that sometimes pastiche is the music, and you implied that your choreography was pastiche. Is Lucy and Jessie doing this? Is that Rita Hayworth?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Put the blame on me. Absolutely. Yeah.
Could you give us a hint in some of the others?
Absolutely. Well, all the French stuff, the French boys, that's all based on Josephine Baker. Research.
Is there any Fred and Ginger in there?
A couple of touches of that, because obviously that's part of me, but not too much. It's not right. It's not right for Follies.
Anyone else?
How much time did you spend with your older counterparts, like making sure everything was
Good question.
right during the
I don't know the exact number of hours. We definitely had time. Dom gave us time. We did a whole session where we talked about backstory, tried to sort of coincide with the ideas we had for the history of the character, because obviously it's the same person. So myself and Peter definitely had some time. I know you guys all definitely had some time. And also, because those four are so experienced, so long in the tooth with what they do and stuff, like what they do and what they're doing. Yeah, they would happily take us aside, have a chat during rehearsals, talk to Dom about it. Dom definitely gave us the time officially on the schedule as well, but also it would be a very open dialogue with them and stuff throughout, in terms of trying to make sure that we're all singing off the same song sheet.
They were very generous as well. Sorry, I was just going to say that when what was great that Dom did was that when they were blocking scenes, or before they blocked the scene, they would sit around the table and talk through the scene. And even if we didn't have any lines in that scene, we were able to sit and
be part of the discussion.
Yeah, and hear them talk about why they were saying certain things the way they were, or their sort of backstory coming into that scene, and that was so great. That for me personally, Janie was so generous with me, and we had was it in like a session where we talked about what our childhood bedroom was?
Yeah.
All of that we did, things like where we came from and who our parents were, and it really helped, little mannerisms that we.
And he did that clever thing where he told the younger, he prepared us all up, and like the whole company with our older selves, young selves, and asked the younger person to have a secret about the character, and tell the older person. So he's just very clever like that, Dom. He's very savvy in how we might have felt coming into a room with these very experienced actors, that we might be very sort of submissive, or just go, yeah, whatever you think. So he made us have a secret and tell them, so that there was an inherent part of the character that we owned. But they're so experienced that we never felt like we had to just be a young version of them. We absolutely created the role
It
together.
was so important. We spent a lot of time as an 8, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like all those table reads and all those conversations were so important. Not just one-on-one. Phil and I had a lot of conversations, just the two of us, and that is important. But as an 8, I think it was really important for us all. And we spent a lot of time, and we spoke a lot about the kind of the history as well, like together, just the 4 of us.
Many beers.
Many beer. I don't drink beer.
Wines.
I drink beer. Yeah, it was. Philip kissed me. We did this kind of exploratory movement-based kind of workshop. So. Involving the older actors kind of walking around the space and the younger selves kind of just imagining seeing your older self for the first time and then kind of more abstractly having a conversation with one another with your shoulders, and then you just kind of trying to see how you would move together and try and see yourself in that person and try and relate physically to that person without touching them. And then it moved on, and before I knew it, Phil was kind of looking at me intensely, and there was this thing going on. I was in the moment, it was great, the National Theatre. Dominic was close by, and Phil kind of went, "Come on, touch him." And I kind of went, "Oh God, what's happening?" And he kissed him, I kissed him back.
Lucky you.
Didn't make it into the show, unfortunately.
That's the other video, it's coming out on DVD.
Great.
Can I just ask you a question? When we're filming in the West End theatres and so on, it's quite evident from talking to people on stage that a lot of them get very little opportunity to actually see themselves in the show itself, simply because most of them are not filmed. If they are filmed, it's usually for private. What's it like when you actually watch yourselves in something like this? Is it I mean, for me, because we edit obviously what we film, we usually go to the shows obviously first to see what's happening, and then when we edit them, the edited version is actually, even for me, editing it, is not like the show that I actually watched sitting in the theatre. So for you performing in it, what's it actually like, just like watching something back here now? It's very interesting for me to hear what you have to say.
Well, none of us have seen it.
No.
Because we don't will.
That's the first time I'd seen that. And I'm pleased with it. It's not really the stage version. The problem is that was filmed very well, so you actually start verging into looking at it as a film, and then you go, well, that cutaway is wrong, and so you're starting to go for.
Well, it's just
you're not looking at a stage version anymore, if you like. So if it's filmed, but there's so much in that they've picked up on, which is great for the record. But it's drawing the line between what the film is for. If it's a feature film, and we all go to LA, that would be nice. Or whether it's something for the archives, or if it's filmed live like that, which is sort of like a halfway house for me, but done very well. You know, as an actor, I wouldn't look at it. But I came today and I'm pleasantly surprised. You know, and there was a few bits I thought that's going to go.
Well, I messaged Alex and said, "Do you want to come to see that?" And the response was, "No, no, I don't want to see it."
And then do an archive film as well.
I presume, yeah, there will be
Yeah.
one, absolutely, yeah.
So that would be a different.
Yeah, and of course the CD is coming when? Autumn. You know more than me.
autumn is what we know. Autumn time. Yes.
But it's a reduction, or is it the full show?
Pretty much everything, isn't it? Just one. I think it's pretty much everything, apart from maybe
The dance break in Mirror Mirror.
Yeah. Trying to get tap right, honestly.
Because when we were trying to come back in, doing the recording, we didn't
Yeah.
really come there.
Yeah, but all the songs, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, yeah, all the songs are in.
Well, hopefully all of our stuff.
Doesn't matter. It's like a best of, isn't it? Though it's like thriller.
Yeah, but it's not a selection.
No.
Any more? Oh, you're being beaten to it.
We started. Sorry, say that.
What's your favourite Sondheim musical?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, it's so difficult.
Mine's Company. It's one of the first musicals I listened to actually. I went to Art Centre, went to musical theatre college, and I didn't really listen to a lot of musicals. I kind of ended up there by accident, I think. I love musicals, but I didn't listen to them. And so I went to the library, did some homework, and a friend who I was living with recommended Company. I just thoroughly loved it. I love Company.
Mine's Sweeney Todd.
Mine too.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started auditions, some auditions last week, but it's going to take another year. You know.
Yeah, you got to be better.
Well, we've already started months ago actually approaching people, but it's just people who are going to come back and people who are not, and what have you. But you can't just applicate people in. You know.
Can you society?
I haven't got any. There's no decisions made. You know, at this stage.
Is there anybody definitely not going to be in it for whatever reason?
You can say one name.
No,
there isn't.
Yeah, that's
You can say that.
Yeah, she talked about herself.
That's right, yeah.
But that's all we know.
Okay. Would you go back into it?
Who knows?
Who knows? So, yeah, who knows?
There are so many.
Can you talk to their agents?
It was a very perfect thing, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And I've already spoken, Dom and I've spoken at length about this. When we do the next version of it, you can't just copy what. It's got to start right from the roots and grow again. You know, that's the only way you can't. You can't just copy.
A different
and that's right. And, you know, with different older actors, and you know. But the difficulty is, you can't cast any of the younger folk until you've got the main characters and the Solange and the Hattie, you know. So it's difficult.
I had a great problem with the festival hall when they did it because they had a black band. So they cast a younger black band, and then Clark Peters falls. So of course when they recast they had to find a black actors.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know the cast is going to be bigger.
Oh.
A couple more people in the cast.
John, go on then. You've paid your dues.
Yes.
Every time I see your reaction to the ironing board is different.
Right.
How many variations are there?
A million. I'm just so in the moment. Just general delight, and sometimes that's different, and often depended on what. Because it was Emily Lyon who ended up being cartoon Sally in Buddy's Blues, but before she was in that, it was her putting the ironing board on, and then it was Barney who was Sally when cartoon Sally originally. So it just depended on what they gave me, and I just responded at the moment. But Jen was like this, with a leg.
I remember Dom saying to you in that rehearsal, like, just be really pleased with everything that's given to you in that scene. So that's where it came from, wasn't it?
Yeah. What's feminism?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It was my only laugh in the show, and I'm normally try and get a few more, but there's no more in that show for me.
Anything else? Anyone? No. Oh, fine then. Yeah. I think I'd like to say thank you very much for one for doing it in the first place, because I think it's been a dream show for us as well as Sondheim fans that finally see it done properly. And thank you for doing this today because it's really hot outside.
Yeah.
And what are you all in now or next? I know.
I'm in Strictly Ballroom at the moment.
She's amazing. You have to go. We went the other day.
A silly Australian musical. Yeah.
No, she's brilliant. Can you just do your sexy pose?
No, right. You have to come and see it.
Okay.
But it's not sexy.
So good. I'm doing Me and My Girl in Chichester, which is very nice.
I'm auditioning, waiting around for next thing.
So now I've got a bit of filming over the summer.
I'm starting work on Strictly and taking Top Hat to Tokyo. in Japanese, but a replica of the West End production.
Okay. All right, so we'll let you go. Just say thank you, Sir Alex.